want to work on our backend so that we can, like, authentication in general, everything that's related to authentication. So the first thing that we need to do, let's create our model. After creating our model, then we can go on to connect our backend to Firebase. Okay, so here in models, we want to create a new file and we want to call it user. It has to be a JS file. So what we can do, we can just go ahead, copy this schema that we have here and we paste it in here. We want to change this name from job schema to user schema, like that. And we need to change this model name from job to user. So we are done with that part. The next thing that we need to do, we need to take care of our fields, of our variables that we're going to have inside. So we can just, let's go ahead and remove these ones. We're going to leave the boolean and we're going to go ahead. Okay, so we're going to leave these three, but we need to rename them. So the first thing that we require when we are setting up a user, we're going to require a username. That's the first thing. After that, we're going to require an email. So for our email, it has to be unique. Okay, so here we have to set the property unique to true. So we're going to do the same for our username and our email. They have to be unique somehow. So we're using unique, this unique property, in order for us to manage, like, we don't want the same user to create multiple accounts with the same email. Okay, so we want to have one user, one account kind of setup. We're also going to require a password. After our password, we have to remove the default here. Oh, that's a boolean. So let's copy a string and we give it a name, password, and we have to remove this unique property from here. Here we are going to add an extra field, location. So for location, you can go ahead and use this field if you want. I'm going to use it, but I'm not sure that I'm going to put it here, but I'm not sure that I'm going to use it. So we need to set required to false. So you can either leave this one in your process, either way it's okay, but it's going to be there in the backend. If you want to use it, you can just use it. Right after that, we're going to have a phone. So a phone, we're going to treat a phone the same way that we're going to treat our location. So we need to have a boolean value with the name updated. So for this one, we're going to get into it a little bit later, explain in our front end. That's the best way that we can explain this one. So required, not required. So we're going to remove this. Default is going to be false. So whenever we create an account, this value is going to be set to false. So the logic is whenever a user updates their skills, because we are going to put our skills separately, whenever a user updates their skills, then we're going to trigger this and set it to true. Once this is true, then we're able to get their skills from a collection they're in and display it in our profile page. Because without this, then we are not going to be getting the skills from our backend. So that means that user hasn't updated their profile as yet. Okay, so that's all that we need to do here. And we need to have some other properties, like is admin. Default, by default, is going to be false. And we're going to have is agent. By default is going to be false. And for our skills, we're going to have a boolean. Probably I gave the wrong explanation. So for skills, this is the boolean that we're going to use. But if a person like this one is for a person who is going to apply from being a regular user to an agent. So if you apply, then we're going to trigger this to true, and then you have a different profile from a regular user. Okay, so for skills, it's the same. If you update skills, then this one is going to be triggered to true, and then we're going to render the data from our skills. Default is equals to false, required is equals to false, like that. And we're also going to have our profile being the image that we want to use. So here our profile is going to be a string, required is going to be true, but we are not going to get into details of like how we can upload an image and stuff. So we are going to set a default string here. So here I'm going to open my notes, just copy a random one. I'm going to copy this URL. That's the URL that we're going to use as our default profile. So each and every time that a user creates an account, then this is going to be their profile image. So that's all that we need to do. In here, we are done creating our user schema. So the next thing that we need to do, we need to go to Firebase console and create an account. After creating an account, we get the JSON file that we're going to be using in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that.